and in your ears. This is Women Take the Wheel.
Come on, baby.
With your hosts,
Here we go.
Nikki Clark.
And welcome to another Women Take the Wheel. And today I'm so excited to have Julie Nataas with us. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
You were one of my first guests. It's been a while.
It's been so long. I literally tried to think about this earlier, and I was like, I don't even think I lived in Indianapolis last time I was here.
Really?
Or maybe I had just moved here. But it's been a while.
It's been a while, and you are the reigning top alcohol dragster champion.
Yes.
Yeah, so you're still doing that. But the big news is you are going to be driving Top Fuel here in St. Louis in a couple weeks.
I am, and I'm so excited. And the fact that I can finally talk about it, it's so fun. Like, this has been in the works for quite some time. Obviously, people have known about it, and it's not been a huge secret to the people in the motorsport world, but it's also been on the low. And now that I can talk about it, I'm like, yes, let's talk about it.
Well, and that was part of it, too. So I know you've always wanted to drive Top Fuel. I think you've said that before. You've always wanted to. So how did you finally, hit the accelerator, as I say, and, I'm going to do it. I'm going to get my license. How did that come about?
So I've obviously been in top alcohol for quite some time now. I believe I'm going on 7 years at this point. Yes.
I know that.
But only 5 full-time seasons going for a championship. But at this point in my career, I feel like it's time. It's time for me to step up, do something else. I've always said that I'm never in a rush or never been in a rush to go to Top Fuel because I've always wanted to have the most experience before I try to level up. Like, I want to be the best that I can be, and I believe experience is what's going to get you there. And now, at the beginning of this year, I told Randy that this is my last year with you. I am leaving. I am not coming back for 2025. So it's time for me to move on, do something new, and honestly, I need something else. I need
another challenge.
Another challenge. Yes, I need to become not better as a driver necessarily, but
more experience.
Yes, more experience. I'm ready
Wide
for
variety.
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Same with that funny car I drove last year. I had so much fun because it was a new challenge for me. And
that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
How do you switch back from dragster to funny car? That's got to be a little jarring.
Yeah. It's two completely different driving styles, but I'm absolutely obsessed with the funny car and the way you had to drive them. So I love it.
Good.
I did both.
So then you decided you're going to get your license, and so you went to the scrappers crew and said, "Hey, I want to test your car."
Not really. Obviously, I have been thinking about this ever since last year. I was like, I'm getting my license no matter what's happening this year. And then Travis, my bestest friends, he bought a new, or himself to him, new car and trailer. And he's like, Julie, you should get your license with me and we can do all of this. And I'm like, but Travis, I don't fit in your race car. Your race car is way too big for me and it's not going to be safe for me to be in it. So Rob Flynn keeps telling Travis this, like, no, Julie actually can drive your race car. It's not going to be safe. And then a little bit later, we go to Gainesville. Mike Salinas is still on the road. Like, this is this year. And at the end of the race, he comes up to me and he's like, Julie, like, it's time for you to get your license. Like, why don't you we got cars right here. Like, hello. I'm like, I might take you up on that. So then we started talking. Yeah. So that's kind of how it started. And then, of course, things happened with the Salinas and Scrappers team that none of us saw coming at all. So that's kind of changed everyone's plans a little bit.
Yeah.
But we were still able to do it, and they were still wanting me to get my license with them. And we worked it out.
Yeah, I'm so happy I saw Mike at Indy, and I was so happy to see him there.
Yes.
It just makes your heart happy. But, yeah, I'm like, you're like another one of his daughters because he's such a girl dad. I'm like, you're an honorary Salinas girl now.
And he does say that, too. He's always said that, which is kind of funny because I'm also a J. Which all his daughters are a J. Yes. So he's like, you're just the extra J. You're the extra daughter.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And not a lot of people know this, but when my dad raced a couple of races over here in his top Fuel Dragster. Him and Mike became really close. So Mike and his daughters came over to Hockenheim whenever my dad was racing, probably like in 2011, 12.
Oh, very cool.
So all the girls were all like sitting in the grandstands cheering for my dad, which not a lot of people know this, that we have this background.
Your friendship went that far back. Yeah. That is so cool.
Yep. So we've known each other a long time. Not that any of us girls can really remember what that time in Hockenheim together were like, but we've been told we had a great time.
I was going to say, yeah, you're little kittens, because I remember meeting them in 2013, I think, and I think Jasmine was in high school, so it's been a while.
Yes.
So
yeah, she said she was in college whenever she was over in Hockenheim, and I'm like, I don't think you were.
No.
I really don't think so, but yeah.
And I didn't know your dad raced over here.
Yeah, he did. Only a couple of races.
Yeah.
Like, ended the season over here with the rest of the people with Pomona and Vegas, and started the season with Vegas and Pomona, or Pomona Vegas.
Did you come with him then?
I did a couple times. Yeah, it was more for him to have that experience, because obviously that was his dream to race over here. So they did that.
He must be so proud of you coming over here. He
so.
watched you license, right?
He was there. He was.
Aww.
I called him whenever I told him that this is happening. And I was like, well, so it's going to be Monday after Virginia. Obviously, I'm not racing, but are you going to be there? Are you going to fly over? Yeah. He's like, we'll see. I don't know if I can take time off of work. We'll see. You'll be fine. And I'm like, what the?
Yeah.
Okay, sure. And then he calls me a week later, and he's like, yeah, of course I'm going to be there. What am I talking about?
I'm like, nah, no way Dad's going to miss that.
Yeah, no, he didn't.
No
he
way.
was there.
So what was it like that first time you hit the gas in Top Fuel Dragster?
A lot of people have told me that I sound so disappointing whenever I say this about Top Fuel cars. But it felt the same.
Okay.
So it's not that different from an A fuel car, and I think I was expecting a lot more of a difference between the two. So whenever I sat in the tow vehicle for my first hit in that Top Fuel car, I wanted to throw up. I've never felt so nauseous before, and I'm not usually the person that would be like so sick to my stomach and so nervous, but I was. Which was kind of the same way I felt whenever I was going to upgrade my license to an A fuel. And I think I had my A fuel upgrading like my licensing passes in the back of my mind, because it was such a huge difference going from super calm, where you let off a button and you're like, before it kind of take off.
I like that.
That's what it feels like. You're like, wee. And then A fuel, you're like, whoa, holy heck and Bob, like what just happened? And obviously I didn't think about the fact that I'm now used to this. So I think I was like, oh, this is going to be huge. I'm not going to see anything. I'm not going to know what's going on, because I had no clue in my first pass in A fuel. Couldn't see anything. And I step on the gas pedal on Top Fuel, and I'm like, I have full control. I can see everything. Like, what is happening? What is going on? Like, I know this. Like, I think I was just so shocked by the fact that I might have been more ready for it than what I thought. So that was really, really cool. But I didn't come out of the car like jumping up and down. I just started correcting myself right away as a driver, because I want to be the best that I can be. And I know that my first pass wasn't perfect. Like my burnout,
and
my
no one
procedure.
expected it to be.
I know. No one expected it to be, but that's where my mind went right away. So people were like, oh, she's disappointed by Top Fuel. Like, she... what? But in reality, I was just like, it's the champion in me, I guess you can call it, the driver in me that's wanting to be the best.
Well, and I think it's because you did drive top at nitro injected for so long that you were used to it and you knew what to expect, where I feel like lots of people who have just moved up to fuel haven't driven as long as you did, so that's why they're like, okay, wow, this is a lot faster.
Yes, so which also, it is, of course, a lot faster. I definitely, like, noticed that after half track, it keeps pulling you. And I'm like, oh, wow. And then I had the feeling of floating on top of the ground, which I've said to people I've only ever experienced the floating sensation in a funny car before, not in the A fuel car. So that was pretty cool. And the guys did not expect me to, like, you know, come back, tell them how I felt and feel the floating sensation. Like, even Jasmine, she was like, what? So that was cool. The guys were impressed, which I thought was like, oh, thank you. Thank God I didn't fail. Yeah. I'm ready for this.
And you get out of the car, because I'm not going to name names, but there's one guy, where the first time he drove Top Fuel, he'd never been in a dragster before, and he did Top Fuel Dragster Pass. Getting out of the car, he was having issues like getting out of it, because he'd never been there, and it's tough with all the safety equipment on, and
it is.
I don't blame you.
Yes, I noticed the difference in my Top Fuel car compared to my A-Fuel car. Like in the Top Fuel car, like in the cockpit, everything is so tight. Like literally everything just fits me. In my A-Fuel car, I have a little bit more room, so I'm like, oh, I can maneuver around a little bit, but Top Fuel car, nope, it's tight.
And it should be that way, because
it should.
I've seen the crashes where I'm so glad that they were tight in there, because they just walked away.
I am so glad that it is this tight, but it's an adjustment to get out.
And how did you come up with St. Louis as your first race? Were you planning on next year? Or were you planning to get in something this year?
Actually, Airmine, which is one of my big sponsors this year, on top of like OTG, of course, they were all here for it. After I got my license, they were like, well, if you can race a race this year, why not? Like, we'll pitch in. Like, we'll make this happen. And I'm like,
okay.
Yeah, sure. I'm not going to save that money until next year if we want to do this right now. Like, why not? And so, yeah, I asked scrappers if they wanted to try out this 2-car deal thing that they already wanted to do earlier this year, and they were all here for it. So St. Louis is kind of random, but it's the only race that I'm not racing my alcohol car the rest of the season. So
yeah, you still got that car.
Yes. So I don't want to go to a race and race 2 classes. I want to go there for my first like Top Fuel race and only focus on that, and that will be it.
Smart move.
So that's why St. Louis.
I'm excited, though, because I'm going to go. So
yay!
Yay, because I'm like, it's only 3.5 hours away from Indy.
Yes.
And I'm like, as talking to Bobby Ben about helping out with Competition Plus. And then I'm like, oh, and Julie's going to be making her debut. I can go cheer her on.
I love that. There's actually so many people now that are going because they're like, oh, yeah, it's only 3 hours away. Yeah. Like, why would I not go at this point? I'm like, yeah.
That's why we're not. So I'm like, I get to go cheer on. Yay.
Yes.
And, I was going to say, getting into the Top Fuel, so do you have to have a whole new checklist of like, okay, I need to, remember this, like, because you're going to be racing this weekend in your Top Alcohol. I mean, is it the same kind of like prep and setup, or do you have a totally different setup for the fuel car?
Pretty much the same. Yeah, it's pretty much literally all the same.
Maybe. And it's all the same equipment too? You didn't have to get any more like fire suits, nothing? You already had it all?
I mean, I did have to go fix my fire suit, but that's because of another issue. It's not because of the Top Fuel car. That's because I've lost so much weight, which is also
darn.
Which I've lost 25 pounds at this point. Part of it was because Randy came up to me at PRI last year, and he was like, well, we're going to do some changes on the car. It would be great if you lost 15 pounds. I was like, sure. And I already had in the back of my mind that I wanted to step up my game because I knew I wanted to go Top Fuel. So I went to the doctor and I was like, hey, something is wrong with me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like no one knows this, but I am always working out. But you couldn't ever tell before.
I know you do.
Like, but you don't look at me and you're like, oh, yeah, she's working out a whole lot. I've always worked out, never lost weight, never been able to lose weight. Yes. Went to the doctor and they're like, yeah, your thyroid is not working. I was like, oh, okay.
That explains it.
Yeah. So we got all of that fixed, still working on it, some of my hormones and all of that. And now I lost 25 pounds, which is great. But my fire suit is way too big.
Note to self, go see doctor about thyroid.
Yes.
Okay.
I am at this point, I'm very much like, if you feel like something is wrong, go see your doctor, which my first doctor, she said, you're normal, Julie. And I was like, no, I am not. So I went to a second doctor to get a second opinion. She was like, yeah, you're not normal.
Well, see, second opinion. Yeah. And I know you work out just because I've seen on social media. Something I love, too, is that the NHRA women drivers, you guys are kind of like, you band together and you support each other and you work out together.
Yes, I did bring Jasmine and Ida to solid core, which is a Legree workout. People say it's Pilates, but it's more like Legree, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because then I've seen you over at, I think, like Hoosier and other stuff too, where not Pilates, Pilates.
Yeah, Club Pilates. I love Club Pilates. I actually work there too.
Really?
Yes.
That's so cool. Do you teach?
No, I don't teach. I kind of wish. I think
You should.
If I could, I probably would teach, but to become a trainer, it's a lot. And I can't just take that time right now. Maybe at some point in my life I will, because I love Pilates. It's great for you.
It is. I used to teach mat Pilates and floor yoga and stuff like that, and they call Payo, where I mixed them together. And it was fun, and now I'm like, what happened to me? Remember I used to teach that, and look at me now. So.
No.
But you get busy behind a desk, so.
True.
And something else I love about the women at NHRA is the recent, which just came out, which, Leah Pruitt helped crusade, I guess is the word for it.
Yep.
But the new policy rule for when women drivers start a family, and you were part of that discussion too.
Yes, Leah came up to me earlier this year and told me about these changes that she wanted to make because of she's now seeing the issues because of the things that she's been going through to become pregnant. And I could not have agreed more to having like a policy rule change like this. Because I've always thought, and still think, that the day that I want to start a family, I'm just going to jump out of the car, be pregnant, and come right back out of it.
Yeah.
Like, come back in a race car. But that's not always the case, and that's not how it works. Like, you can't decide when you're going to get pregnant and all of these things. So, my plan of doing all of this is now becoming a whole lot easier with this rule change.
And
so I'm
love
so
that.
glad.
Yeah, because I know her too, because it's like racing is her life. And the way she talked about it, it's like, I have to give up my life to do this. Well, now it's like, well, I can kind of do both. And then when I'm ready, I can keep racing until then.
Yes.
So, yeah, but then you have to get the questions the minute you're out of the car. Oh, you pregnant? You pregnant? You pregnant?
Exactly.
I felt so bad for her when she announced that. I'm like, oh, that poor thing. Everybody's going to be, are you pregnant? Are you pregnant? Are you pregnant yet?
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I even remembered people around me, they were like, do you know if Leah's pregnant yet? And I'm like, no, I don't know. Like, let
Not
her
your
be here.
business.
Like, yes, she is going to tell us and everyone when she's ready for it.
Yeah. So going back to getting in Top Fuel, I know you and Jasmine and Ida and everybody are close, so everybody's pretty supportive of you making this move and everything?
So far, yes. I've only heard positive feedback, I think.
Well, and then you're a social media ace, and so I love it. And I just got to talk about, she had the best, like, I don't know if you call it, it's not clickbait, but you're like, I got a secret, and everybody immediately thought you're engaged.
Yes, it was definitely not supposed to be clickbait, but that's what it looks like right now. I have so many people look at my strategy for, I don't know, we wanted to create some hype before this announcement. So we're like, okay, like 3 days before you make a post about like having a secret, post a selfie. Because also I hadn't posted like anything about me and myself in a long time.
Yeah.
So, okay, maybe that could have been a little bit of clickbait. But we all look at this photo and we're like, yeah, this is great. None of us are thinking about the ring, which is actually 2 rings. They're actually on my right hand and not my left. But in this photo, it looks like it's on my left. And, oh, my goodness. So many people thought I was engaged or ran off and got married or have a pregnancy announcement. And I'm like, oh, my goodness, Lord. But also, thank you for all the engagement on my post.
Yes, you're still looking. When I saw the comments, I'm like, oh, that's sweet. I'm like, I know that's not it, but everybody's so sweet.
So sweet. And trust me, I would not have had a man if I had one.
And I told her, I'm like, you'd have a better ring.
Yes.
You wouldn't have a dangly thing on there?
No.
And the thing I love, too, is that then you also, like you said, then you had, like, the walk into the scrappers thing. And I'm like, oh, I know where this is headed.
Yes. And then people started to connect the dots. And a lot of people were like, I knew it. You're going to be a full-time driver for scrappers next year. And that was kind of what they were all thinking, which is kind of what I was hoping they were going to think, because I knew that they weren't going to guess my St. Louis debut.
And I saw, because I saw you in Indy too, and I saw lots of cameras following you too, and I'm like, I don't want to be part of that. Like,
yeah, so I do have a TV show coming out next year.
What?
Yes, I am on a TV, like a documentary reality TV show about me and 3 other girls. So I have cameras following me all year this year.
It's so cool. Is that a secret, or should I know?
It's not really a secret, I guess. I just don't have a time for when it's coming out. I know it's coming out in the spring. I don't have a date for it, and we haven't started promoting it, but it's not a secret.
Is it here in America or in Norway?
It's in Norway. Yes.
That is so cool, though. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But like I said, I saw them on Julie. I'm like, I'm gonna wait a second to talk to her because I'm like, I don't want to be part of that.
Well, for anyone who talked with me at the U.S. Nationals, I was mic'd up the whole weekend.
Oh, what did I say? I'm like, I hope not. I'm like, just trying to think if I say anything bad. So, and then so this weekend is Charlotte. So today or tomorrow, you're headed out to Charlotte then too to keep competing.
I am tomorrow morning. I am. Yeah.
And I'm horrible. I've not looked at the rank. Where are you at in points right now?
I have no clue. I just posted on my social media today that. Yeah, I might have a Top Fuel debut next week, but I have a championship to fix here. But I don't know if I'm in the chase at this point. I haven't won a race yet so far, so.
What? That does not sound right. I always love you and JJ's pictures. Whenever they lose, if you watch it, it's got lose your beers.
Yes, we got lose your beers, which is also so exciting because JJ is like he's my car chief, but he's also like my guy. Like, if something is wrong in the race car, I go to JJ. I go to JJ for everything. Mm-hmm. And he's going to be part of my Top Fuel debut. He's going to be my clutch assistant, and he's still going to, put my fire suit on and help me get strapped in and be my backup guy. So,
that's awesome.
Glad, yeah.
I'm like, I teased Travis when he backed up. Did he back up Jasmine? And he walked out of his shoes. I'm like, dude, you handled that like a pro.
It was so funny.
But he handled it like a pro. I would just went out the track for Indy to do the winners, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm stuck. I'm like, how do y'all do this? So,
right?
I'm so glad JJ's going to be there for you too.
Me too.
And we want a big cheering section for you. And so you have a deal right now on your website?
I do. Just launched it today. I am doing 20% off of all my merchandise that I have on my website. So order before or until Sunday. Mm-hmm. I'm shipping everything out on Monday so that everyone gets their shirts in time for St. Louis because I don't have a merchandise trailer. So I won't be able to sell anything at the track. So I'm like, order online.
Yeah, well, because now I see some of the drivers have their own little merch thing next to their trailers. Is that because they also have a deal to sell in the Big Tens? Is that the deal?
I think so. Yeah. I am pretty sure that's part of the NHRA deal.
Gotcha.
And I just haven't fixed anything for my one race debut.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
And because I was looking at the long sleeve, it's going to be in the 70s right now, it's saying. So I'm like, I might go for that long sleeve.
I feel like the long sleeve might be good, even like for the rest of the year for,
Oh, I'm happy with that. I'm a Minnesota girl. I like it cold, man. If I could have the windows open, it's 50s, windows open. Come on.
Yes. I am the same.
Oh, I'm so excited for you. Like I said, I will be watching. I'm going to be there so I can cheer you on, too. I'm so excited for you and the whole Salinas family. And like you said, though, it's going to be their test, too, because they plan to do the 2 next year.
Yeah. They are. It's going to be a big weekend for all of us.
And tell everybody, because you do have amazing social media. So tell people where they can find you on social and your website.
My Instagram is just my name, Julie Nataas. Facebook is Julie Nataas Racing, and my website is julienataas.com. Pretty simple, pretty easy.
Yeah, so I'll be following you very close. I will have updates on Women Take the Wheel Facebook page, too. I will. And I'm like, okay, y'all in here, you got to see her, how good she's doing. So thank you so much for coming back today.
Thanks for having me.
From the All Indiana Podcast Network, this is Women Take the Wheel with Nikki Clark. Follow and subscribe to this podcast now and discover even more great podcasts on the All Indiana Podcast Network. Online at allindianapodcastnetwork.com. allindianapodcastnetwork.com.